The latest live-action TV version of Superman was better than his current big-screen counterpart before he even officially debuted. Not that the bar was set very high. A couple of weeks ago, I described why I think the CW's Arrowverse is a much better take on DC superheroes than the cinematic DC Extended Universe, and there is perhaps no better illustration of the differences between the Arrowverse and the DCEU, and of why I vastly prefer the Arrowverse than the contrasts between their respective versions of Superman. The Superman of the DCEU, seen in 2013's Man of Steel, this year's Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and returning for next year's Justice League, is a bleak man in a bleak world. The colors of his costume are drab and muted, he's constantly frowning and scowling, and mayhem and destruction follow him wherever he goes. The character of Superman has occasionally been likened to a firefighter, arriving at the scene of trouble, dealing with the situation, helping whoever needs help. But the DCEU Superman is more like a wrecking ball. In both of his film appearances to date, the DCEU Superman spends far more time punching adversaries and knocking down buildings than he does protecting or rescuing people. In fact, he seems to have very little regard for human life at all. For example, in Batman v Superman, when Lex Luthor sets off a bomb during a Senate committee hearing that kills everyone else in the room, Superman just stands there looking grumpy in the flaming ruins. The only people he seems to actually care about are his mother and Lois Lane, which is nice if you happen to be one of those two people, but not so nice if you happen to be anyone else within a few square miles of him at any given moment. The most recent TV Superman, on the other hand, is a much better representation of the character as he has been portrayed on the page and the screen since he was introduced in 1938. In fact, before we even saw his face, this version of Superman was already more of a hero than the Superman of the DCEU. In the pilot episode of Supergirl, Superman appears briefly in silhouette during a flashback filling in Kara Zor-El's backstory. He's only on screen for a few seconds, but we see him rescuing Kara from her crashed spaceship, extending his hand to her, and delivering her safely to her adoptive parents. Even when he was nothing more than a plot device to set up the premise of a show that wasn't even about him, this Superman was more of a hero than this one. Happily, during this season of Supergirl, he's graduated from plot device to actual on-screen character, with a visible face and a credited actor playing him in everything. And though he's appeared in only 2 episodes to date, the Supergirl version of Superman is already among my favorite live-action interpretations of the character. In fact, I'd rank him second only to Christopher Reeve, which is high praise coming from me. Sorry, Brandon. You know I love you too, though, right, buddy? Oh, Brandon, come on, don't be like that. Dude, the Supergirl version of Superman is everything the DCEU version isn't. Likeable, caring, selfless. When people encounter this version of Superman, they smile. They're happy to see him. They're sometimes shown to be in awe of his power, but it's not the fearful awe we're shown in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. People aren't afraid of this Superman because he goes out of his way to make sure they have no reason to be. He isn't the remote, moody demigod of the DCEU. He's engaging and approachable, and just as important as his personality is how we see him using his powers. This Superman saves people. He teams up with Supergirl to rescue a crashing space plane and to prevent a skyscraper from collapsing. Imagine that! Superman preventing a building from falling down. Is he even allowed to do that in the movies anymore? In the following episode, Superman is out of town helping Supergirl when a villain attacks a park in Metropolis, and when Superman gets there, he seems genuinely upset and regretful that he wasn't there to stop the destruction. To quote General Zod, not that one, the other one, the good one. To quote General Zod, he cares. He actually cares for these Earth people. And isn't that what has always made Superman Superman? From Kirk Alyn to George Reeves to Christopher Reeve to Dean Cain to Brandon Routh, all of the live-action portrayals of the character have relied on that premise. Superman cares. He has powers and abilities far beyond those of mere mortals, and he uses them to fight for truth and justice because he cares. He's not super because he can beat up the other guy with superpowers. He's super because he's good. He's decent. He doesn't knock buildings down, he holds them up. He doesn't stand around and glower when people nearby are in danger. He helps. He's a hero. Or at least he was until this asshole showed up. Look, if you prefer your Superman angsty and joyless and violent, that's your right. I don't understand it, but hey, dig what you dig. And I will dig what I dig. And personally, I don't dig the caped madman over here. I dig this guy. He's my Superman. The other guy, you want him, you can have him. Hey folks, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And also, please consider helping me to make more videos like this one by supporting this channel through Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to become a patron. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.